Daniel Cormier says, you might have saw this, and I want to know your opinion, that if I, the man, talking about Jon Jones or Stipe Miocic, which is just around the corner now, and finally we can move on with this story, but he says if either of them gets hurt and can't make it to the fight, we do have the backup fighter of Tom Aspinall. He says neither one of them are going to agree to fight Tom on short notice. Which is...
Stipe will.
You think so?
Jon will not.
You think he won't?
I don't think Jon will. No, I don't. I think DC's spot on there. Stipe will.
Well, look at it like this.
I'm actually traveling out to Stipe here pretty soon.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Well, Jim, he's going to help me get ready for my fight.
Tell me more.
We're gonna do some training.
We're whispering.
I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bouncing around and I'm gonna go spend some time with Stipe, spend some time with Dean and Rashad, and just get some deep knowledge.
Well, this is the one, Anthony. You got to get this one.
Yeah, we need this one.
You got to get this one, so you got to do whatever it is. So take it.
But back to Stipe, he, I think he will. Anytime I've ever had conversations about this kind of stuff with Stipe, he doesn't. I know that I think in this whole media world, and not just you and I, but the media in general, and the UFC, and everyone that talks about it, they make it seem like Stipe really gives a shit. He doesn't really give a shit. He's barely a fighter. Like, he doesn't have the mentality of a fighter unless he's in there actively fighting. He doesn't talk about fights. He doesn't really watch them that much. He trains every single day, but he's just not immersed in this world at all. Like, he wants to beat Jon because everyone else says that Jon is the best. He couldn't care less about Jon Jones. He just doesn't. Like, whether it's Jon or it's Tom Aspinall, he's going to train about the same. It's not going to really change much. He has that mentality where it's not about what that guy's going to do and how I'm going to react to it. His whole mindset is flipped. Here's what I'm going to do, and he has to deal with it. That's how Stipe's mindset has always been. So whether it's Jon or whether it's Tom, it doesn't change anything for Stipe.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with that. I don't know Stipe like you do, but those are the kind of vibes that he gives off, and that is total security.
I'm jealous of it a little bit.
It's content as well. It's like, it's not my identity. I am who I am. Yeah, okay. I was the champion of the world, and I want to be that. I want to beat Jon Jones, and yes, I want everything that comes with it. But I've made some money. I've done my thing. I'm a fireman. I'm a regular guy. I'm a blue collar guy. I've got money in the bank. I've got a wife. I've got children. I'm not concerning myself with this circus on social media and all of this bullshit. I'll be out doing my thing. I'll be looking after my family. And then when the time's right, I'll jump on a plane, I'll fly to New York, and I'll fight the greatest fighter that's ever lived. And if I beat him, whoop the do. And if I don't, well, so be it.
Yeah, and if I don't, then whatever. Even after he lost to DC, I was waiting for like this profound moment. Like, well, what do you think? What are you going to do? What if you don't get the fight? And like, he just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, then I don't get it. Like, well, then what are you going to do? I don't know. Maybe I won't fight. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see what they say when they call. And
that's
if he feels
true
it,
strength.
Yeah, and if they call and he's like, nah, I don't really like that, he just won't do it. And he doesn't argue, he doesn't complain, he doesn't really push like insane negotiations. Like, he doesn't try to like finesse his way around things. He just, whatever. So like, people are making it seem like he just sat out and he waited and he just, got, and complained to get this Jon fight. He was just content doing whatever he was doing. And then Jon brought it up. So he said, yeah, whatever, I'll do that. And if he doesn't do that, then he doesn't do that.
You know what? There was another point. And again, I always hesitate to say this shit because I know what everyone's going to say. If anyone thinks I'm saying this to curry favor or kiss ass, you're out of your minds, because guess what? Dana White's not watching this. He's completely unaware. But just talking of the Stipe and the Jon fight, I saw him last week on the Contender Series afterwards. Because, everyone's bullshitting and complaining because it should be Tom Aspinall and yada, yada, yada. And he was like, well, hold on a minute. And I thought this was a great point that I'd never considered before. He said, Stipe's 43 years old. He's been the champion of the world. He's been a great fighter. He's defended the belt multiple times. So what am I going to do? This is his last fight of his career. He's made that perfectly obvious. So what am I going to say? All right, sorry, unlucky, you're out. See you, buddy. Or am I going to pay him the respect that is due? I'm paraphrasing, but words to that effect. And I was like, and that's a really good point as well. It's like Jon wants it, Stipe wants it. All right, we'll postpone it. And that's always been the plan, but people are so quick to go out there and say, oh, this guy's asshole. Well, that's what they would have done. Oh, you did that to Stipe? So all these people that just bitch online, they just bitch for the goddamn sake of it, because I thought that's a really good point. He's not doing Stipe a solid, but he's just allowing them both to get the fight that was scheduled. Right. Back to the initial point, though. You're right. I don't think Stipe would turn it down. But to your initial point and to DC's point, got to remember, he turned Chael Sonnen down as a short notice replacement.
Right. And
I'll just point out that I took Chael Sonnen on a short notice replacement. Just throwing that out.
So you're better than Jon Jones.
I mean, it is what it is.
100%.
You can't deny these facts.
It's proof.
Could you? I mean, it's history, bro. Could you imagine the shitstorm if Jon Jones, if Stipe gets sick fight week, legitimately, it's November, it's New York.
Right.
He gets the flu. He stubs his toe. He pulls a Tony Ferguson and blows out his ACL at the Fox Studios. Shit goes wrong, right? Yeah. Whatever it is, Stipe has to pull out. Tom Aspinall's there with his interim belt. Champion versus champion, Madison fucking Square Garden. And Jon Jones has the balls, and it is balls, to say, fuck you.
I think he would. I think he would say no. I think he would say no. And not for nothing, Jon Jones never puts himself at a disadvantage. Ever. You can hate him for it, or you can look at it as a strategic approach to your career. He never puts himself at a disadvantage. He never is going to let someone have one over on him. Not before it even starts. Once he's in there, Jon's a dog. But it's a different matchup. It's actually not that much of a different matchup. But no, I think Tom's a better grappler. Probably a more willing, stronger wrestler. But in terms of their striking and their movement and their speed, I think Tom is the evolution of Stipe. I think he's just added on to what Stipe did. I think but they're in the same vein, at least in my opinion. I just don't think Jon would. I don't think he would.
No, I don't think he would either. And one would.
And that's not me saying anything about his toughness. It's just historically he won't. Historically he won't.
No, you're right, because that is what a proper manager would more than likely advise you to do.
Right.
Could you imagine Rocky, Apollo Creed's manager going, well, the Italian stallion got sick, so we're going to get this guy from down the street. They'd be like, no, f that. No way. He's out. I have who? Fight who?
Right. Well, and some of this is Jon's mentality too. You've heard him do interviews, or at least have short conversations about how he obsesses over his opponents. It's actually one of the biggest disadvantages, in my opinion, for Stipe, for this fight being stretched out longer, because it's given Jon more time to think about it, more time to analyze it, more time to dig into it, more time to continue to watch the film over and over and over. Jon is obsessive. I remember seeing an interview somewhere where he'll stalk, back in the day, he used to stalk his opponent's Facebooks, and he would read through their everyday life. He wants to know who they are. So that quick flip doesn't give him enough time in his head to make it okay with him. He doesn't have enough time to adjust and to feel like he knows that person. So it's not he doesn't think he could beat that person on that shorter notice. He's not comfortable with the matchup, because and that's my opinion from just the things that Jon has said and the things that his coaches have done interviews and talked about before. It's just too quick for him to adjust to the change mentally to the new person. I don't necessarily think it's a skill set thing.
I want to go back to something I said a second ago, though, because I think it's a good discussion, because I said he would have the balls
100%
to say no. And what I mean by that is, and this, like, I'll give another good example of something similar. You're under immense pressure. The UFC have put this fight on. They've delayed it for a year. The fans are all waiting for it. You've got an interim champion in the weight, right, in the wings. The pressure to, if Stipe got injured, to say, yeah, I'm going to take that fight, would be so hard to go against, right?
Oh,
It'd take somebody special, the entire world's gravitational pull, everything, the UFC, the might of them, the paychecks, the millions of dollars, the fans, the social media, everything. You've got to do it. Most people would take it. Jon Jones, and it sounds weird to say he would be man enough, but he would be strong enough as an individual to say, no, I'm not getting bullied into that situation. And it's kind of like this, because I don't want to talk about, I won't name names, but family member getting married. My brother was getting married, right? Wedding all organized. All families flown in from Ireland. Everything booked. We're there. It's done. The wedding's happening. Everyone's flown in. We're all there. Loads of money spent. Day before, he walks in. He was in the army. He walks home. He walked in the house. He packed his bags, walked out and went. Never spoke to her again. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I was mad and I was angry.
And I balls on him.
But it's like, how many people in those situations go through with something like that?
Just because of the pressure.
Because it's like, well, I've got to. But deep down inside, he didn't want to do it. And he had the balls to be like, I don't care. I don't care what's set in motion. I don't care the church is booked. I don't care the honeymoon's planned. I don't care that you guys have got on a short 50-minute flight from Ireland over to Manchester. Do you know, but how many people, it takes real courage in those situations. I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong, but to walk away from a wedding when it's all booked.
Well, you remember I was at that wedding, I don't know, 6 months ago, and the bride was ready to walk down the aisle. And they called the wedding off right there. I was all the way in Arizona.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I shouldn't be. My neck's crunching and clicking.
That shit was crazy. But you're 100% right. The weight of the world would be on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Like there wouldn't even be a question. So you have to take this. All his coaches, his training partners, the people that are expecting to get paid off of that, his management team.
Oh yeah. Coaches, managers.
Yeah, like the marketing people
buying tickets for the event.
Right, your family, you probably flew your kids out.
Sales.
Pulled your kids out of school.
Like, you got the UFC side. They pay for hotels and flights and all the rest of it. But like the main thing is like, yeah, the UFC are going to lose tons of money. But like he personally is going to get shit off fans, all the fans that have flown in and all the rest of it. And he was
look what Conor got. Look what Conor got from pulling out of that fight with a broken toe. People are still trashing him for that.
Yeah.
It's
right.
But you're right. John I mean, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but it's going to come off that way. John is so used to people shitting on him that I don't think it would bother him.
Water off a duck's back.
Right. He was like, yeah, whatever. Like, they already, like I've lost fans before and I'll get them back. Like he's just used to kind of being the brunt of bad news.
Have you ever been in a situation? Because I have, and I'm trying to think of one right now, though. I guess there's been so many where you've just felt so much immense pressure and there's something and you don't want to do it. And you feel terrified and like you just feel shit. I can't do this. This is bad. But you've got to do it. Yeah. And you've got to do it. I'm trying to think. Can you think of any examples? There's been a few times in my life. I know that feeling I just can't think what it was. Maybe I've been hitting the head too many times.
Fighting for sure. There was one.
Well, fighting's, yeah,
but no, I mean like one specific one where I was hurt really bad.
Which one was that?
Well, I don't want to make excuses, but
no,
I was really, really hurt. Like the morning of, like it all happened overnight, it was the biggest fight of my life at the time. And I couldn't even get out of bed. I was hurt bad. But what do I do? You know, like I have to, I gotta go. I gotta walk. I gotta make the walk. Yeah, I gotta make the walk. But I'm just trying to think of one like in life. Like if there's,
I mean, it was like that for me every time. Like I would go to a fight, and I had one eye. Do you know what I mean? And like I'm going to the doctors, and I remember every. I mean, it wasn't like that, the same kind of thing, but the pressure, I would feel the crazy pressure walking into the doctors and pulling my same old bullshit and lying and all the rest of it and go to every fight. And then the doctor would come over at the weigh-ins to check your vision and do the medical. And I'm like, here we go. All he's got to do is cover one eye and say, how many fingers am I holding up? And I'm like, shit. At this point here, everything could be done. It's over.
Right.
I've flown everyone in. I paid for the flights, the hotels, the training for months, you know? Horrible feeling.
Yeah, that's like, stress. Yeah. Did you ever get to a point where you were almost found out?
I don't know. I feel like it was the worst kept secret. Like, bro, without this eyepiece in, it looked like shit.
Yeah, you know? I mean, you could see that there's probably something wrong with your vision.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why it was time to walk away. But anyway, I weren't trying to talk about me. But yeah, Jon Jones, like, and that's what I liken it to. I liken it or compare it to somebody getting married, and everything's all there, and that's kind of the pressure that you feel as a fighter as well.
Yeah,
to pull out, and some people might say that's a bitch move. You're a pussy. But that's having the balls to say, hold on a minute. And then, by the way, I'm not advocating for Jon Jones to do this and saying that I understand why. What I'm saying is it's really hard in these kind of situations to be like, no, I'm going to do what is best for me. I'm not here to do what's best for you, the fans, or the company, or whatever. I'm going to do me. And right now, I think what's best for me is if I fight Tom Aspinall after a full camp. Just like he did with Chael Sonnen. And who stepped in at the last minute? Was it because they tried Dan Henderson? Oh, it was meant to be Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
And it was Chael Sonnen. Oh, then they brought in Vitor.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of always been the knock on Jon, is that he'll always do what's best for himself.
Well, and that gets called selfish.
Yeah.
But is it?
You can count on Jon to always do what's in his best interest.
Yeah.
Always. That's not always a positive across every facet of your life. But in his career, you can guarantee he's going to do what's best for him. And I can't fault him for that.
It's good when you know somebody so well. I'm not talking about Jon, you know, in your personal life. You always know that guy's going to let you down. That guy's full of shit. Whatever he says, he won't be there. He ain't going to follow through. He ain't going to do as he said, you know. And then when it happens, you're like, yeah, you're not bothered.
Yeah.
Does it affect you?
Because you know. Yeah.
So I knew. You always do that. You always let me down. You always go back on your word. You know, those people are a pain in the ass.
What did DMX say? What did DMX say? Trust a snake to bite you.
Trust a snake to bite you.
Yes.
We ain't what? We're right here. I can't do that. Do like a bit of DMX though.
I do like DMX.